Buddy Mike Saint Amour here from traders-circle.com. Right now, I am going to show you the Euro Japanese yen, and the purpose of this video is going to be to demonstrate, how I draw the lines and what my train of thought is while I'm doing the lines and exactly what I'm doing. And it's pretty much the same on every chart that I do. The process is the same. So by watching it on this video, you should be able to apply this process to any chart that you decide to do this with. So let's take a look. First thing I do is I go on the monthly chart. Here I am, monthly chart. It's imperative that you zoom fully out. You can't zoom out anymore. Make sure it's as far as you can go. And once it's as far as you can go, you do this because you want to make sure you can see the entire chart. And this is not ideal. So for this chart, I'm going to zoom in just so it's doable. I'm actually going to remove these indicators so we can see everything nice and clear, because the purpose of this video, again, is just to show you how the lines are made. So starting from the monthly, I'm going to take my line tool and I am going to draw my first resistance. So the first thing I do is I look for the very top of the chart, which happens to be here. It could end up being here, it could be over here, I don't know. But right now the top of the chart is right here, right in the middle of the chart. So I'm going to draw from that peak to the very next peak. There we go. I'm going to change this here. This will make it easier for you in future, so we can know this is the ultra key resistance. Okay, we're also going to draw one for the support, and there's our key resistance and support areas for the monthly chart. Now we're not going to stop there because we still have other key areas. Mind you, it's probably more for the weekly and daily, but we're going to draw it here because we're able to draw it here. And it's basically just this one support. And the reason why I say it's only one is because there's nothing for me to draw after this. Everything prior to here doesn't matter anymore. So this doesn't matter. All that matters right now is this. So, I mean, I can't draw from here to here like you just, well, you might be able to get one from here to here if you want. You could draw that. It's probably useful. Let's change this down to a medium size here, and let's change the color to something different. Okay, and let's draw the support. So this support can be drawn because we have a bottom and we have a clear next bottom that we have not drawn lines on yet. So let's draw our lines. Okay, we're gonna do wick to wick on these. You could do both. You could do wick to wick, and you can do close price as well, with just maybe a dotted line or something for the wick one and a solid line for the close price, or vice versa. It's up to you. I'm only going to do it like this so we can keep it simple. Too many lines is not good. You don't want lines everywhere to the point where you can't trust a single trade, because every 50 pips there's another line, right? So let's just take care of the important lines. Every other line doesn't really matter, just the important lines. We're also going to draw a top here because clearly that's going to be a take profit area and a resistance area, and we will do it on the bottom as well. And we're going to change the properties of this to be larger again, and we'll change it to this light blue, and we'll do the same for the top. Done. Now, done with the monthly chart. This is what we're looking at. Now we're going to go down to the weekly chart, and here we have the weekly chart. It's important, again, to zoom out as far as you can go, because sure, we're only dealing with this, but you want to make sure you can see the whole picture, right? That was a big difference. If you just look at it like this, you're like, oh, okay, that's what it is. Here's the bottom, there's the top, everything's good, until you back up and you see there's a big difference. Okay, so once you're zoomed out and you know everything's in play, which it is, everything is done right on this longer term, we can zoom in afterwards. So we can zoom in like this. And I don't think there's anything worth drawing here. You can draw minor supports and resistances, but it's very important to understand that these ones, I mean, they do matter, but they don't really, because if it's gonna break, it's gonna break. Like, it's, I guess, for this point is you would want to at least know that that is there, but it's not really a very important line. So let's have it dotted so we know something is there, but it's not too important. Okay, so I don't see anything else. Maybe we can draw one more right here, possibly. And we'll turn that solid because that is a little more important. And we'll switch the color to something different. Okay. Now remember, these lines are areas. They're not really solid points. Sometimes they act as a point, but very many times, or most of the times, it's more like an area of support and resistance. Okay, so we're done with this. I mean, we could start doing the line here, but it looks like this is a shorter term trend. So let's go down to the daily and see what we got. Now it's starting to look much different now. Let's zoom right out again, make sure everything's there. So this is the farthest the daily zooms out. So you can see why this is important to go on the monthly and the weekly chart first, because we've plotted our main lines, our key supports and resistances, the stuff that really, really matters. Now that I'm on this time frame, I can see my new line right here. Okay, so first things first is valley to valley. That wasn't it. Is this it? Probably not. Is that it? I don't really see 3 bounces. So this is a problem. At this point in time, we don't have a confirmed support. So I'm gonna look for something else. I'm gonna like find, where is it? There's something here, but where is it, right? So maybe we can go here. You see this gap here? That tells me there was some kind of big push. Look at that. There it is. That's got to be it. This must be the spot where we're going to have problems, I'm sure. So that's where my line would be. Now, many times we're like, oh, it shouldn't go through price, blah, blah, blah. But every situation is unique and different. And in this situation, there's a gap here that shows me price broke through something. Something is here. And it just happens to run along here, and it just happened to have stopped there now. I don't know if it actually stopped here. This is still soft, right? We're waiting for it to actually make a valley and start going back up. Then we can solidify this. But for now, that's what it is. We're going to take this here and we're going to turn it to a dotted line because it's weak. It's not really too important. We could probably make a trade off it. It's hard to say, but we'll see how it goes. Or probably not. I wouldn't make a trade off this line. So just remember that. It's just we're trying to find our support and we haven't really found it yet. Okay, so another thing we might consider once it makes a bottom is that when the time comes. So we're not sure about these, so let's just keep them there anyways. We know something's there maybe, and let's see where it can go from there. See this right here, you can see valley to valley is not quite right. We should fix that. It's more like that, I think. I think that's what's going to happen. So we can adjust this line again. Like I said, we can adjust this line to come back up whenever this decides to make its bottom. And then we'll know where the real support is for there. I think you can trade off this once it settles down and makes its bounce. So everything on the daily is looking good. Everything's perfect. As you can see, we're looking now, this is now a bearish trend on the daily chart. So we're on a downtrend here. Okay. So you can see over here, it was not a downtrend. It was not a downtrend, it was an uptrend. Whoops. And excuse me. And that uptrend in the widest view of the daily chart is a downtrend now. Okay, so on the weekly it was more bullish than it was bearish. I think. But we are peaking out. That's a good sign. So daily's more on the bearish side. Sorry here. Okay. Something else I want to take notice here is we're always looking for patterns as well. Patterns are one of the most important things in trading. It's the strongest signals. It's the things that are going to make you the most money. So watch out for patterns. Head and shoulders, they're not easy. It's something that's constantly mistaken. People are seeing them all the time. Head and shoulders. Every week I hear about somebody saying, oh, there's a head and shoulders. There's an inverted head and shoulders. Most of the time they're wrong. Most of the time it is not a head and shoulders. So remember that. It's the least reliable chart pattern that I know of. Meaning the least properly identified one, not reliable one. Because when they break, boy, do they make a good move. But people tend to see it everywhere. And right now I see one possibly right here. So we possibly have a shoulder. Like, I don't know if this is high enough. It's never going to be perfect. It looks like the head and shoulders, and it has two ears, kind of like Batman, which is some of my favorite type of head and shoulders. The neckline of it is not that good. It's angled downward, which is not too good. So it's hard to say. Or maybe no. So it would be angled down, which is not the best. But it seems to coincide with this line pretty well. I figure maybe the price will zigzag down here and let us know if it's going to break down or go up when it decides to do that. But we are definitely seeing, not definitely, but we are possibly seeing a reversal signal here. So keep that in mind. That's at a key resistance area as well. Okay, we might get a spike to touch this yellow line and then down. It's hard to say. I'm not going to look at the indicators or nothing because that is not the purpose of this video. So let's go down to the 4-hour chart. And you can now see that we can plot our old lines, because old lines are important too, right? We want to make sure we're zoomed right out, which we are. And then we're going to bring in our old lines. And we will change this to a different color. Maybe yellow will do. And we could see it broke down. So we can see now on the 4-hour chart, we were a bullish trend. It was making higher highs and higher lows, and it kept going, and then it broke. And now it's making lower highs and lower lows. Clearly you can see this is a completely different trend. But now we've landed on our line here, and you know, that's a support area, so we might see some upward motion. We got to be careful. We can draw our next lines here. So starting from the top, working our way down, we can see that doesn't fit. That doesn't fit. I wouldn't do that. For now, that's going to have to do. So we possibly have maybe some sort of descending wedge of a sort. Okay, so I don't normally draw all these lines. It's just you practice, you test them all, you find which ones seem to be the best. Which ones might be it. This one looks good, but it's probably not it. It's got to be this one. This is definitely the one. Okay, so maybe a descending wedge here, which is known to break up. Okay, keep an eye on that. The only reason I'm drawing this line doesn't mean much to me in a bearish trend, because I expect it to go down until it breaks up. So we don't have to worry about these supports too much. I mean, we can recognize that they're there, but we're not going to worry about it too much. We're not going to worry about breaks on that because we're expecting it to go down until it breaks up. Okay, so now that we have that line, we can come down to the 1 hour and the more tradable time frames. And there's nothing to draw here. Well, we could draw this line here. We need to draw our supports and resistances, so we need to do that. That's definitely something. That would be a take profit area if it breaks. Then we're going to go down to the lower chart frame. 30-minute is about the lowest I'll go. And even then, I don't even barely draw lines on the 30 minutes, so I'm not going to do it here. So basically, we now have our, well, actually, you could go down to the 30 minute, even the 15 minute, and you can make lines down here as well if you like, if you're a short-term trader. So you can go on the lower term if you wish. You see how I do that? I start with the tops, then I do the bottoms. See the bottom to the next very bottom? This was the top to the next very top. Maybe that doesn't fit so much, but it is what it is. It was there, right? Right there. Okay. And I think that's about it. So we can look back at our monthly chart, and there's all our lines. That's what our monthly chart now looks like. We're gonna know that on these longer term frames is the direction we're looking to take things. So when it breaks down from here, we can see it's at resistance. We can see it's very likely to come down here again. So that's the direction we want to trade in, on the downward trend. So when it breaks down, we're going to go down unless the key resistances break. Anyhow, I hope this was helpful. I know it doesn't tell you too much about what's happening with this pair right now, but the whole purpose of this video was just to show about the lines. Please like, subscribe, and share this video if you found it useful, and have a great day.